Hello fellow ant keepers. Welcome back to the Ants Subang YouTube channel. For this week's video content, I will be showing you my new setup on my old-timer colony. The Odontomachus similimus species, or simply known as the trap-jaw ant. This setup isn't any different from the previous one, except that this one allows me to go deeper with my camera lens. Without wasting precious time, let me show you around their new home. Making this video took a little bit of effort from me. I have studied how to properly hold a camera steady with my shaky hands. Yes, I do have that problem now, even if I am not holding anything. It's inevitable when you reach your late 40s. Anyway, you can find a whole bunch of tips and tricks on the internet for taking macro video of moving objects with your camera. I have covered the introduction of the Odontomachus similimus species in my previous videos, and before I dwell further into this video, perhaps I can share a little more. Odontomachus similimus builds nests at the bases of plants and trees. The part of the nest above ground has loose dirt. They only hunt in the vicinity of their nests. They don't swarm in very large groups. This makes them very hard to spot. When they hunt away from the nest, they consist of only one or two individuals. When it is alone, any sign of danger will cause it to dart under rocks or leaves and remain immobile until the coast is clear. They have slippery feet, meaning they cannot climb smooth surfaces. As a result, it is relatively simple to set up their nest, which brings us to this video. Some of my subscribers who have been watching my channel for a while know that I have a particular preference for the design of species that require substrate in their setup. That is, I like to be able to view my ant colony at any time. If you are new here, and you want to know what I am referring to, you can click on the iCard above, at the end of this video. So for this setup, there isn't any difference, but this time it will allow my camera to be at eye level with my pet trap-jaw ant. In the previous setup, I was only able to take video at the top angle. This time I was able to capture many personal parts of their lives, such as their habits and activities. In this new setup, it also lessens the stress of filming for me, as well as for the ants. They will feel comfortable as though I am not there filming them. In their natural state, capturing them will produce great results without having them scurry off while I feed them or try to snap at my camera. Again, this setup usually does not work if you do not know what you are doing and understand the species you are keeping. Trapjaw is one of the more demanding species to keep, just like any other pomeranian ant out there. Many have told me that subterranean nests will only work for them. They also need to be surrounded by a moist substrate all the time. Simply put, they prefer to be underground rather than on the surface. But in this case, I beg to differ. This simple yet successful setup has worked for me for many years. Not only is it an open nest setup, but they are also test tube raised. Each specific test tube in the nest has a different purpose, and it's not all for brooding. Some are for food storage as well as for resting and sleeping. So, being in an open setup and having test tubes as their home, you will be able to see the wonders of them. Watching my beautiful queen laying egg piles, sticking eggs on the glass walls, and tending to the young larvae with food is the most satisfying observation from this setup. Again, there is nothing wrong with an underground nest, but the point is, you are missing out on a lot of what you cannot see. If you also noticed, there's not a single water, sugar, or honey feeder anywhere in the nest. Just a wet sponge which I drop fresh water on it to moisten the nest, and as well as for them to drink. I also give them fresh honey water every time. This will ensure that the nest stays fresh and not be contaminated whenever there is a stale drink. All in all, it's a great deal of effort and tedious as well, but that is what makes a successful trap-jaw colony. My trap-jaw colony has grown a taste for honey water. A few years ago, they did not even touch them and immediately piled debris on top of them. Today they kept it as is, but occasionally they do get dirt on it. I never keep honey water for more than 2 days in the nest, as it will spoil quickly when exposed to the elements. Only give them additional drops if it runs out, and that should be the way. No need for fancy bottle feeders, they will eventually be piled with dirt and the sticky contents drain into the substrate. It is in their instinct to do that, as an open water source is a danger to them, hence they pile dirt to absorb it. The trick is only to give a small drop of honey water. Whenever it is done, just give another serving. Less is more, like what you see in most European-style fine dine plating techniques. For protein, I give them small chunks of cut-up worms. I never give live feeders, and it's just my way of feeding. Having the ants to work for the live food is energy draining and dangerous for the colony, especially if it's your own pet. Cutting up worms doesn't really take up a lot of time, and it's more beneficial for the ants. Without much of a hassle, they will just pick up the worms and bring it into the nest to feast as well as to feed their young. Their larvae are voracious eaters, and we have to make sure they get enough of it. Let's take a final look much closer into the nest. I have yet to explore any deeper yet, but I have given myself time to experiment with my video capturing capabilities within this nest. Hopefully, we will see a totally different side of the nest chambers in my future videos. I aim to create better perspective from my own colony, to showcase their beauty and share what I have learned here. If you enjoyed the content of this week's video, click the subscribe button so you can receive more content like this every time. Do remember to click on the iCard above to watch the previous Trap Jaw videos. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. Ants Subang YouTube channel.